Hi, Tom Richardson for New England Boating. Well, beautiful spring days like today really spawn the urge to get on the water and kayaks and canoes and stand-up paddleboards, and that's great. However, keep in mind that the water is still super cold. In fact, throughout New England, the water temperatures are still in the upper 40s, and it's approaching early May. And in parts of New England, especially north of Cape Cod, the water temperatures never get above 60 degrees. If you find yourself in the water when it's that cold, you could be in big trouble because you only have a matter of minutes to get out of the water or summon help before your body starts to shut down due to hypothermia. Well, we're not here to scare you, keep you off the water. We're here to keep you safe and comfortable. And that's why we're going to go over some cold water paddling gear today to keep you safer and more comfortable on the water in the spring and in the late fall. Well, this one's a no-brainer. Obviously, you should wear a PFD or life jacket anytime you go paddling, but it's particularly important in the early spring and in the fall when the water's cold. Now, a good life jacket like this one made by Kokatat has all kinds of pockets that allow you to keep life-saving devices on your person so you're not rummaging around in your overturned canoe or kayak if you find yourself in the water. Now, another thing that a PFD will help you with is it'll protect you from what's known as cold water immersion syndrome. That's when the body involuntarily reacts to a plunge in icy water by suddenly inhaling. That can cause you to breathe in water, which can incapacitate you if you're also trying to stay afloat. Keep in mind that if you're wearing, all you're wearing is a PFD over your regular clothing, it's just going to keep you afloat and still leave you vulnerable to the effects of hypothermia. So you still got to get out of the water or summon help really quick. Which brings us to this interesting garment. It's called the dry suit, and it's a great item to consider purchasing if you do a lot of paddling in cold water, or even if you paddle a lot in foggy, cold, rainy conditions. It's a great item if you're a kayak fisherman especially. The dry suit's made by Kokatat, and it's got a lot of really nifty features. Well, let's start with the wrists, where you've got rubber gaskets that seal out water and Velcro closures there. You also have reflective strips on the suit so people can find you if they need to. Got pockets, zippered pockets on both arms to store safety gear. You also have this spray skirt collar, which fits over a spray skirt if you happen to use one of those on your kayak. Another great feature are the zippers. They make getting in and out of the suit really convenient, and they're completely watertight as well. You've also got one here, well, for obvious reasons. The suit also comes with a hood to keep your head protected. Now, underneath the dry suit, you're going to want to dress in layers of polypropylene that will wick away any moisture and allow it to get out through the Gore-Tex shell. Dress in layers so you can take off the layers if you happen to get too hot. Also, avoid any wool or cotton, which tends to absorb sweat. These suits are great when combined with a PFD. They will buy you a lot more time if you happen to find yourself in the water or in very frigid conditions. However, they're not going to buy you time indefinitely, and that's why we're going to show you some other items you should carry. A wise paddler once told me that cold hands can be as dangerous as immersion in cold water, and I believe it. Once your hands get cold and numb and you can't hold a paddle, you're in big trouble. So get yourself a good pair of insulated neoprene or waterproof gloves like these made by Patagonia. And speaking of clothing, it's important to keep your head warm as well. Now, many hardcore paddlers like to wear ski-type balaclavas or wetsuit hoods, but a good tight-fitting polypropylene watch cap is plenty good for most of us. Aside from a life jacket, perhaps the most important piece of safety equipment you can carry on the water is a personal locator beacon, or PLB. Now, when activated, a PLB uses a satellite network system to alert search and rescue personnel and lead them to your general location, pretty much anywhere on Earth. Well, cold water always brings with it the risk of fog. Now, if fog suddenly rolls in or darkness happens to descend while you're out on the water, you're going to need a way to orient yourself. And a good old-fashioned chart of the area you plan to paddle and a compass will get you home safely. Another option is to invest in a charting app for your mobile device, like the kind offered by Navionics. Just remember, you have to be within range of a cell tower for it to work, though, so bring a paper chart as a backup. Well, you're probably going to carry a cell phone with you no matter what, and that's always a good idea. But make sure that it's fully charged and protected by a completely waterproof case like this LifeProof case, or it won't do you much good. Always carry some kind of sound signaling device with you, like an air horn or a whistle. A small waterproof strobe light's always a good idea. Keep it attached to your vest so it's always there when you need it. If you have the room, consider carrying a compact submersible VHF radio like this one made by ICOM. If you make a distress call, a fellow boater or the Coast Guard or Marina may pick up your transmission. Just remember though that there are fewer boaters on the water in the shoulder seasons to hear your calls for distress. Well, that does it for a list of products that can keep you safe and more comfortable on the water in cold weather and in cold water. But here's something that won't cost you a dime. Check the weather forecast right before you hit the water, because things can change rapidly, especially in the spring and in the fall. On the water, check the weather updates on your mobile device if you can, and keep an eye out for approaching fog banks or approaching fronts. And if the wind picks up, don't be afraid to turn around and head back to your launch site. Some other tips for cold water paddling include staying close to shore and traveling with a buddy. And if you plan to go out alone, be sure you leave a float plan. That means letting people know where you're going and when you expect to be home. That could greatly reduce the time it takes rescuers to locate you. So there you have it, just a few products and tips that'll keep you safer on a cold water paddling trip. Use them in addition to other regular safety devices you should always carry with you while paddling. We'll cover those in another video and article on newenglandboating.com. Till next time, I'm Tom Richardson. Thanks for watching.